Hey, in this video we'll be going over some basics to get you comfortable on our favorite angry ceiling fan, Painwheel. She's a specialist character with unique movement options, top class damage when facilitated by her hatred install, and a lot of unorthodox tools at her disposal. Painwheel might be the right character for you if you like spending a lot of time in the lab and don't mind difficult execution, you enjoy slow armored normals in flight, you like doing huge unique combos, and or you don't mind not having access to reliable defensive options. As she is based on Sentinel, it's the easiest comparison to make for similar characters. Painwheel suffers from limited mobility on the ground, with extremely slow dashes. This is counterbalanced by her having access to an 8-way flight. She can cancel many of her options into flight, and these flight cancels make up a huge part of her gameplay, and getting used to cancelling into it on whiff and hit is important for learning her. Painwheel has a unique mechanic called Hatred Guard. By holding down specific normals, she can charge them. While charging, she has armor which can be used to eat any non-sweep or grab type move. Notably, she can flight cancel the startup. When she armors through a hit, the damage is stored in an invisible gauge up to 33% of your opponent's total team life. When she hits with a move that can have armor or her level 3, part of this damage will be dealt back. Here's damage for comparison. Aside from flight, Painwheel's most important special is probably Buer. This is a hit grab that can be cancelled into flight on hit. However, be careful when confirming with it because of the horrendous hitbox. Medium Buer is pretty rarely used in some routing, but it has a better hitbox and range, but it knocks down, so it's not super useful. Heavy Buer hits diagonally up on the ground and straight down when in the air. It's used a lot in corner routing and in hatred install. Nails are one of the stranger parts of Painwheel's kit. They don't see a ton of use, but medium and heavy nails are projectiles that can be charged for enhanced versions, and light nail is generally used at the end of combos for a final string. Flight mode is the most unique part of Painwheel's kit. It allows her to approach the game differently than almost every other character. While flying, she can move in any direction and leave flight mode by pressing 2 punches. Using a move in flight mode will also exit it. Cancelling in and out of flight makes up a large part of Painwheel's neutral and combo game. Now that we've gone over her specials and mechanics, let's look at a few of her notable buttons and what they do. Painwheel struggles on defense, but definitely does have some tools. 2 MP, 5 MP both serve as passable anti-airs, and they, along with other armored moves, can be used in charged form to armor through a jump-in attempt and punish. Painwheel is also able to combo off of her air throw without the use of OTG state by cancelling into flight and then jumping medium kick. Intentionally getting hit airborne in Skullgirls lets you cancel your hit stun on landing, but this isn't something that you need to do, especially when you're starting out. It's pretty advanced. Painwheel doesn't have the best options for mashing. Most characters have a 5-frame normal. Painwheel's fastest is 8 frames, but it does have armor and her fastest low is pretty large. You can use 5 LP or 2 LP kind of like a parry, but they're not great. As far as reversals go, Painwheel has 3. So for 1 bar, she can do Death Crawl, 236 PP. For 3 bars, she can do Buer Overdrive, although this will lose to a lot of things and it's pretty temperamental. And she actually has an air reversal in Buer Thresher, but also kind of temperamental. One of the big draws to Painwheel is Hatred install. This upgrades her Hatred armor, upgrades the damage a lot of her stuff does, changes the properties on her Buers. It's listed there. I'm not going to go through all of it, but it comes up a lot in her combo routing, and this is the thing that makes Painwheel do the big numbers. Aside from adding extra properties to a lot of her moves and increasing her damage, it also unscales the combo if you super at the end. Alright, so now that we've gone over most of the basics, let's get into some combo theory. Painwheel combos are pretty hard, relative to a lot of the characters in Skullgirls. There's some tight links, and a lot of different routes, and a lot of inconsistencies, but with enough practice, she is consistent, I swear. This is going to be the main B&B you're going to go into if you're confirming using Buer. It's a little bit tricky at the end, you can go for an easier ender, but once you get the hang of it, it is pretty consistent and does a lot of damage. If you confirm with crouching heavy punch instead, you can go for this route. This uses OTG a lot earlier on than the other one, so you have to go for a different ender. This one does more damage actually, but uses OTG way earlier, so it might be hard to confirm. Speaking of confirms, Painwheel has a notoriously hard time confirming. While her crouching light kick is massive, a lot of her other buttons can't confirm from it, meaning that you have to often go for some pretty weird starters, and generally most of the combos work off of most starters, so just be aware. Also, if you don't want to go for the hard routes to start off, this is what is listed on the wiki as the beginner route. I personally don't like it, but some people find it easier. In the corner, the beginner variant is one that you are going to end up using a fair bit, as the advanced variant is very hard and extremely inconsistent on some characters. So this is a good one to default to when you're not sure. Also note that in the corner we use 5 MK instead of 2 MP at the end. Alright, so this is the advanced corner route. It starts off with 3 viewers. The way that you do this is kind of hard, and it is the beginning of the route, so if you don't get this, you don't get anything else. This one is a version stolen from Ralph, but there's actually another more damaging version that you can do, although it has the same link at the start. This is the one that I normally try and go for. However, this link is extremely hard as characters get larger. So the bigger the character and the heavier the characters, the harder it is. So on a character like Annie, it's not too bad, and you actually don't have to do a fast fall or anything. But as soon as you get to something like Bella or larger or heavier, you're going to have to fast fall with jumping medium punch or medium kick before. And on characters like Double, it is extremely hard to do it. Here's a visual for how hard the viewer link is on each different character of the roster. When Painwheel is in Hatred install, all of her previous combos kind of go out the window because of the change in properties. In general, you're normally going to be cancelling into it, so those are the situations that we're going to talk about right now. However, there is a lot of different routes. So this is starting from whatever opener you can cancel into it from 5 HP, continue the combo like this. It has a ton of corner carry, and as you can probably see in a second, the super at the end does an insane amount of damage due to the unscale. If you're in the corner starting, you can do this route. This one is extremely stable. There are much harder routes and more personal routes depending on your assist, your team, DHCs, things like that, but this is a good, stable bread and butter to go for when you're in the corner and you want to pop Hatred. One of the ways that you can build a team around Painwheel is focusing on her DHC ability. By DHCing out of Sniper Shot here into Hatred, I'm able to massively increase my damage and ultimately TOD for only 3 bars. What combo you get, how much damage it does, how much meter you have to spend, things like that, will all depend on your team, which is a big reason why a lot of Painwheel players are lab monsters. Here's an example of confirming off of Parasol Fireball. Once again, a lot of characters have this. It's always going to be specific to the character, to the team, to what assist you have, what DHC you're coming out of, what state they're in. It's not going to do as much damage, maybe it'll do more, it all depends on stuff. All of this DHC stuff is very team specific, so have fun. Painwheel's reset game largely revolves around flight mode. It has a variety of uses, either grabbing out of it, doing instant overheads, doing tricky OTG stuff. But one of the easiest ways to use it is to just hit flight after you land. This lets you re-jump, and you can either do an instant overhead by hitting flight, or you can just not hit flight, hit a low or hit grab, and go for mix. This is probably the most generic Painwheel mix. Painwheel gets access to a lot of different safe jumps using flight mode. So here we have M-Nail safe jump. This lets you get a jumping light kick safe jump after you OTG with jumping medium kick. Here we have the refly safe jump. This is just about as straightforward. You can go for your reset after you land. This only works on slower reversals though, so this won't work on things like Big Band DP or any super. For fast reversals, 5 HP into flight, 6 jumping medium kick will safe jump a ton of things, including extremely fast reversals. It will still lose to SSJ though. The Softy reset is a pretty layered reset, but I'm going to go through a couple things. There's some really good videos I'm going to link down below, going over what the different layers mean, how you condition between them. But layer 1 is you go throw. Then you go for jumping medium kick once they start going for the throw, or burst bait. Once you've got them blocking, they're not doing anything. Then you do the jumping medium kick down, they're going to land, cancel onto the ground, lose all of their hit stun, and then you low throw them immediately. So you can throw them even though they normally would be in hit stun from the jumping medium kick. And that's the basics of it. The Kojima setup is something I saw Very call it. I don't know where the name comes from, but apparently that's what it's called. It's this cute little cross under thing. It's not super practical. 5 HK resets also likewise aren't incredibly practical, but on lights they can cross up in the corner, and they're just a generic kind of tree of resets to start exploring. From 5 medium kick, You can do 6 HK times 2, and then you get a strike throw in the air. It's a good way to reset in the air if you want. I have these labeled as 6 HK resets, but these really are just kind of like OTG state. You can do this off of a bunch of different stuff, off a bunch of different assist setups and stuff like that. One thing to remember though is any of these things where you are passing underneath them, your inputs are going to be reversed until you finish your dash animation, so it can be a little bit tricky to get the flight. Assists for Painwheel are largely grouped into 3 different categories that she wants: DP assists, big horizontal assists, and lockdown. DP assists, generally she's going to want them because she can't contest the space in front of her when she's in the air very well and very quickly. This gives a big invincible reversal for her to do while she's in flight, and in many cases she can pick up off of it. Horizontal assists, such as brass, H-beam, lock and load, things like that, things that cover a lot of horizontal space on screen, can help pave the way for Painwheel to fly in or commit to some kind of option without having to risk jumping into potential anti-airs, things like that. It provides some form of lockdown for her to get in. Finally, lockdown assists let her do some kind of degenerate mix. This can be push blocked, but with the lockdown assist you can generally get back in time to still do some kind of mix or something on block. Now just to go over a couple of notable players, I'm going to list a lot of them here, okay? So this is just about every notable Painwheel that you can find a lot of current VODs from, along with what teams they run, so get inspired, take a look. Painwheels ran either normally, on point, or mid, but that doesn't mean that you can't run her wherever you want. Mess around, there's a huge variety of team comps. You can play a bunch of different positions, a bunch of different builds, and overall just have fun with this great character. She's really fun. I recommend her. Just sink your teeth in.